Tickled your fancy. Well, I'm trying to say that. Let me take that again. Tickled your fancy.
Faint-hearted. Faint-hearted.
Was faint of heart.
Oh, faint of heart. That's right.
Welcome to Lost and Found and Rewound, where our hosts are so cursed, their retirement will be ruined by the fall of their home country. And if they survive that, then they'll be subjected to the Logan's Run rebirth of their nation, cutting their retirement short. I'm Chris Lost.
Oh, why? Oh, should I plug in your mic?
It's like laying right by the plug.
Thanks, Chris.
I'm trying to be helpful.
Thanks for catching that.
Well, I guess I didn't catch it in time, but I'm not the one responsible for plugging the stuff in. That's your job.
I'm Found Jim.
And I'm Clock Keeper, Rick Rewound.
Oh.
That's a nice one.
Yeah, it's a good one for Rick Rewound.
Yeah.
Because you rewind clocks? No, you wind them. I mean, it's a bad one for Rick
I
Rewound.
guess if you wind it a second time, you're rewinding it.
I've got to rewind my watch because I wound it earlier and I didn't wind it enough. Yeah, I guess that works.
You have a watch that you have to wind?
No, I'm just trying to use it in a sentence so that it
okay.
makes sense. I'm trying to help you out, and I'm getting in trouble for it. Well, this is the last fast forward of this season.
Season 5?
Season 2.
2.
Mm.
Just so everybody understands, because I know some people claim it's hard to follow. But we did 6 episodes, then a summer break, and then we will do this. We'll be announcing our 12th episode, our second set of 6 here. This is the last of that set. So we do one a month, and then we do our specials. And just to remind everybody what those are, our secret special promises. We're going to do Beau is Afraid with Michael McMillan. We're going to do a rock movie review with Rick Digit. Still need to lock down that guest. We're going to do, of course, an episode of Tangerine Jim. And then Rick and I are going to debate Around the World in a Day versus Parade. we haven't assigned those. That'd be a fun thing to do. Which are you choosing, Rick? Are you ready to choose one of those two?
I'm not. I'm not sure which one. I guess I'm not as militant about those 2 records as I am about 1999 versus the other one.
One's got to be better than the other, even though they're both great. Just has to be. It's the rule of empiricism.
You know what I really don't like about Around the World in a Day?
What's that?
The cover art.
It's bad.
It is bad. Did he paint that?
I don't know. We'll have to find out on the episode.
He painted 1999, I know, right?
I don't know.
There's a picture of him with his tuchus showing on one of the inside sleeves of 1999 painting on his bed. Do you remember that? Do you know that image?
No, I'll have to open it up and look at it.
Yeah, at least the inner sleeves that I have, there's one where he's lying in bed painting.
I have the mega box set of it, so I'm sure it's in there somewhere.
That shot's got to be in there.
It has to be. I'll look through that this weekend. Prince's Tuchus. Although I got to see it on the Arsenio Hall show for Get Off when he performed. Or Cream. I think Get Off is where he had the assless pants, cheekless pants, or the cheek-filled pants. Anyway, think about that one, Rick. Which album you wanted to? I'll take either one.
I already feel like that's. I'm not so thrilled about that episode.
Yeah, you're really down on it.
I'm not down on it. I'm just like, it doesn't excite me. Like, is there something else we can argue about?
Sure. I'm pretty sure there's something that we can argue about. I know that there's something else. If that's the last thing that we could argue about, we'll never argue about anything ever again. I don't think that's accurate. I don't know if we argue, though. I don't want to be like Siskel and Ebert.
I'm sad.
You're sad?
No, I feel like I was too mean. Was I too mean to you?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, hey, look, the dynamic here is I'm your little brother's friend who just comes around the house and annoys you, and you got to kind of...
I'm abusive.
And he's not as smart as your little brother, so you got to kind of make fun of him every once in a while, put him in his place.
He's even dumber than my dumb little brother.
Right, yeah, something like... Okay, yeah, here's something to annoy you. You apologize. I don't have any I apologizes here,
right.
But I've got a you apologize for Rick. So on another podcast, Rick said George Lucas went to UCLA.
I couldn't remember.
He went to USC.
Okay. Who went to UCLA?
I don't know. Well, lots of people.
I couldn't remember.
He also failed to mention that 2001 was inspired by Jodorowsky's Dune. Not Doom. Dune. You were talked about how 2001 was made and the art direction of that, and you mentioned
Jim knows this. The BBC, or not the BBC, the CBC, no, not CBC, National Film Board of Canada documentary, the planets.
Yeah,
he hired
that's
all those people.
right. I read that book. Yeah, but that's not Jodorowsky's Dune. That's later. That's Alien ripped off Jodorowsky's Dune.
Well, I think 2001 was accused of doing the same.
It's before. It's way before.
Oh, is it really?
Oh, yeah.
Somebody
boy,
owes
now
yeah,
I owe
somebody
Rick
an
an
apology.
apology.
Yeah.
Damn it.
It's 19. It came out in 1968.
All right,
But-
now for our famous segment, I apologize.
But
where I want to apologize to Rick for blaming him for not mentioning Jodorowsky's Dune as an influence on 2001. Is that true, though? Because I thought in the documentary, they list 2001 as one of the films that stole
No.
from his book. Remember, he made that
yeah, that's way
incredible
after.
book.
2001 came out in 68.
Yeah.
Oh.
They started working on it with Arthur C. Clarke in like 1965 or something.
After
Oh,
Dr.
wow.
Strangelove.
Well, I
But-
really
and-
stepped in it there.
Rick was talking. Yeah, Kubrick hired those guys from Canada, or they made this film. It's like a little documentary about the future man in space or something. And Kubrick saw this. It was like something at like a World's Fair or something. They did like would be shown at a pavilion, and these guys did all these special effects, and there's tons of stuff that ended up in 2001 from this movie. Then he hired those guys, and it's a great So there's a great book about the making of 2001 that has all that stuff. But that's it's 10 years before Jodorowsky is that's like in the 70s or something early. It's probably 5 years after, 6-7 years after 2001.
No, I'm sad. All right, I'm sorry.
But it was, everybody knows he's seen that. He made that book, and movies, Alien is the big one, but then every studio, there are a few copies of that book that he made, and the studios just used them as just like a catalog, just like, oh, let's rip this off from that book. They had the glossy coffee table book, and they just started showing up in movies for a few years after that. It was like,
I love that documentary. That book would be amazing to get a hold of.
yeah.
It's got to exist, right? Still?
Sure,
Copies of it?
probably.
All right, I have one more administrative note here before we get into what we've been watching. On April 19th, 2025, I'll be at the Bob Mould Show in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jim and Rick might be there as well. If you want to come talk to me and you want a martini, I'll buy you a martini. So I just want to make that offer. And this should come out, this will come out in March.
And people will be able to identify you, Chris. Just you're the tall Italian gentleman.
Right. Well, we've described me on the show. We said
yeah.
in just the last episode,
Oh,
we
yeah.
said I look like the Formula One racing captain for the Italians.
Mm-hmm. Ferrari, team principal of Ferrari. That's what
Team principal.
ex-team principal of Ferrari.
Right. So just go look up the ex-team principal of Ferrari and then look for somebody. Just hold your phone up next to people's faces and see if you can get a match. Did I ever tell you guys that when I was at Del Frisco's, I had offered to buy people a martini? Because like a martini at Del Frisco's is like $37.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And somebody wrote us.
Oh, yeah.
Now I'm in the habit of reading every listener comment, which we get one every 6 months or so.
Mhm.
But somebody wrote us, it was back when we were getting a lot of actually DMs in the first season. And somebody said, hey, I guess I'd be the guy. I'm your New York listener, is how he identified himself. And he said, I would take that martini, except I don't drink. So I was like, okay. Well,
All right, man.
I've actually stopped drinking a lot.
Good.
And,
Now you're just drinking a little.
well, I've drank twice in 2 months. So I think that's a lot less. I used to drink twice a day. You know, I was in Vegas. I was having Shirley Temples.
Mm.
Just to because I was out with people and they're having drinks and they were like, what would you like? I like a Shirley Temple. So I have like a colored drink.
Mm-hmm.
They're good, man. Shirley
Yeah.
Temples are, especially in Vegas, they make the best Shirley Temples. So I would recommend a Shirley Temple in Vegas. Rick, what have you been watching?
I did a little prep 1 minute before the show, and now I've already forgotten what I watched. I feel like the swipe on my phone has changed.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that's what it was.
Not thumb arthritis.
I think this episode, every pause, you should just have the recording of me saying, I'm sad.
Well, we did that thing with
Voices.
voices on the last episode.
That scared me.
I caught the 1978 version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers again. That's great.
Mhm.
Great movie. Long. I didn't realize how long it was. Definitely an amazing movie. And then I double checked to make sure that the Kaufman who directed it is not the same Kaufman that was involved in the Manson family. I've confirmed that is true. I thought there was a strange crossover there. Saw Conclave. It was goofy.
What's Conclave? What's
See, everybody, as a Catholic, especially, I think you would know.
Oh yeah, I saw a review for that.
Pope Wars.
Yeah, I
as
need
it's
to.
known in our family.
I think we talked about it.
Did we talk about Pope Wars?
No, I think we talked about it with your mom, right? Is it?
Oh,
is it
she
about
had watched
behind
it.
the
Yeah,
scenes?
in fact,
Is there...
last episode taping, she was watching Conclave while we were watching Brother from Another Planet.
Right.
Some old movie.
So who was watching the better of the two films in your opinion? Since
Oh,
you've
no,
seen...
Brother from Another Planet's great.
All right.
Conclave was just fine. It was just like a talkie pot boiler. It reminded me of, I've been thinking about this so much, like did I already complain about the Brutalist? Oh, did I not mark down the Brutalist? I don't have the Brutalist in my, wow, crazy. I saw the Brutalist. I don't have that in my diary. Wow, that's weird. I thought I would have. Maybe I was just so confused.
Maybe the guy who changed the swipe action on your phone forgot to put that in your diary.
I feel like there are a bunch of movies now that are like old Otto Preminger movies, like 1960s, 1950s, big social dramas, but they haven't updated, like they're retro. And so Conclave, I thought Conclave was pretty good, but it had a little bit of that old-fashioned social drama. And then the Brutalist, that turned very quickly on me. I really not happy with the Brutalist.
I gotta watch it.
Yeah. Let me know what you think. You know what I watched the other day? Well, I guess it was February 1st. It was about a month ago.
It's the other day.
The Blues Brothers. That I had to message you guys the extended unrated cut or whatever. It's got a bunch of extra stuff.
It's a long movie already.
It's already a long movie, and then they added. There's more, like where Elwood's job, him quitting his job at. I thought it was a spray paint factory, but I think it's just like some kind of spray chemicals. You remember how he has like glue at the end? He's got a spray can with like, what does he call it? Aquatic glue, or he calls it something like that.
Because they glue somebody to the stage or something.
Yeah. So the factory he works at has spray
that's
cans,
how
and
he
it must
gets
have been. Yeah, that's where that comes from.
Didn't he have a black bag with a bunch of stuff? They kind of pulled a Felix the cat. So they didn't really need that scene. So it was good for them to cut it.
And then them parking the car before they go to the whatever the hotel is that he stays at. What do you call that? The men's,
The valet?
No. Like the famous apartment building that
transient hotel.
Transient hotel. They actually park the car.
Oh,
in
and
a
Carrie
garage.
Fisher shoots him with the
it's before
missile launcher.
It's before that. And so it's in between whatever they're leaving. I don't know where they're coming from, and then they park the car, and then Jake like falls asleep on his bed up in the thing. But there's a whole scene of them parking the car, and other things like that. Just weird little details
that they should have cut out of the film.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sounds like
who's at Maxwell Street? Is it John Lee Hooker singing?
Yeah.
And there's a little bit more like him introducing maybe or saying something at the end after he plays. So some of the music numbers have a little bit more on either end. Yeah, weird stuff like that. And I watched it again, and I don't know if times have changed, because we had that episode talking about neo-minstrelsy.
Right.
And I felt maybe it's just the new era.
We live in a different time.
We live in a different time.
It's kind of gone back to a time of old.
Yeah.
And so we don't have to worry about these things anymore.
Yeah. I felt I didn't find it as problematic.
We flipped opinions on Blues Brothers. Did you watch it in a theater? Because that's what blew me away. Was I took Thomas to see it in a huge movie theater, and on film it just was absolutely beautiful, really beautiful. And we were talking about how I don't like glossy or slick audio or visuals like films. And the beautiful thing about it was very grainy, but still shot cinematically, just gorgeous. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, there's a lot of money on screen.
Right.
It's a big movie. It's shot like compared to
Kentucky Fried Movie.
Yeah, what's the one after that?
Isn't that a John Landis movie?
Yeah, but what's the one after it? The famous one that John Belushi is in.
Neighbors?
No. Who directed Neighbors? Did John Landis direct
I don't know
Neighbors
who directed
too?
Neighbors. American Werewolf in London.
Yeah, the one before that. And John Belushi's not. It's the famous one. It's the big one.
Not 1941, because that was Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg.
The famous John Landis movie?
In the mountains. John Belushi, the mountain movie.
Continental Divide?
Not Continental Divide.
Are you saying it's the John Belushi film before it or the John Landis film before?
Both John Belushi, John Landis made John Belushi movie
Animal
star.
House.
Animal House. Thank you. Jesus, wow.
I was going to say
I
that
had that-
earlier, and
yeah.
I forgot about it.
That was
again
gone.
already.
I mean, that looks like a 70s movie. It doesn't look as big widescreen. I don't think it's a widescreen, right? Whereas Blues Brothers is like a big. It's almost like the precursor. I started thinking it's like, oh, this is like the trial run for Ghostbusters. So Ghostbusters moves into that huge, sort of blockbuster kind
Slick.
of comedy. Yeah.
That's a slicker film that bothers me, how
Yeah.
clean it's shot.
Yeah,
and-
that's kind of like the template, one of the templates of, the big blockbuster, right? I feel like Ghostbusters has that look, whereas Blues Brothers, it looks like a big Hollywood cinematic movie, but it's not the 80s blockbuster looking movie. It makes sense, kind of, it's like, so.
Animal House and Smoking the Bandit are shot at about the same quality. Like
Yeah.
they're films, they're 70s, they're grainy, but they're also being made by somebody who's still learning their craft.
Yeah.
And then you'd compare it to maybe like a Blues Brothers to a Cannonball Run, which would be a bit more cinematic, glossier.
Yeah.
Although I don't think Blues Brothers was very glossy.
No, but it was-
Blues Brothers was really well shot.
Yeah.
And they were on the right side of Nazis.
That's right. Yeah. I was a little sad seeing how far we've come now, where it's not even.
How far we
not-
haven't come?
Or
Is that what
we've-
you mean to
yeah,
say?
I guess. Yeah, how far we've gone back. Yeah, Nazis aren't like this small, weird, obscure, creepy monster cult. Now they're back being mainstreamed again.
And, this podcast is timeless. So who knows what time frame we're talking about. Could
Yeah.
be 1945. Could be
That's right. I forget
2025.
that we're lost in time.
Anyway, Rick, don't get sad again.
I'm
What else
sad.
did you watch,
I'm
Rick?
sad. I've been watching Severance. I've watched Severance, the new season, but then also I've been progressively convincing members of my family to watch it. And so I've actually watched, I think in the past month, I think I might have seen, oh no, I've only watched the first season twice. There are some episodes of Severance that I've watched up to 4 or 5 times just because of all the overlap. Like there was an episode I had to watch twice in the second season, and then I had to watch it again with Rose Rewound, and then I had to watch it yet again with Rewound Jr.
Rewound Jr.
I don't know what to call him.
Well, his name was Rewound, but then he got sued by some band in the 70s, so he had to add the junior onto it.
Right. That's right.
That's a little joke for every member of the audience gets that joke. Our audience is still tight enough that they'll get that. Everyone will get that one. And if you don't, come to that Bob Mold show, and then I'll buy you a martini. But if you come to that Bob Mold show and you didn't get that joke, you're lying. What else, Rick? What else you got? Severance. I started watching the second season. I'm like, is this good or not? And then I started watching something else. I got like 5 minutes into the first. I'm like, this is a big commitment. And I had heard rumors that they tried to do the second season and it wasn't working. And they scrapped it and then went back and rewrote it.
I know there was, some sort of creative upheaval. I don't know if they actually got to the point of filming, but yeah, I know there was some writers' issues, and I think one of the writers is gone.
I don't know the details. I
Yeah.
just know. And it was kind of a little tainted, but then you've been giving it high marks. So I'm going to
Yeah,
have to.
I'm pretty impressed.
I love the first season. I got all in on it.
I feel like there have been some moments that are on the same level as the first season.
Mm.
Yeah, there's one particular episode that I've watched 3 times, 4 times.
Okay, I'm excited because there's I'm a little worried that I won't remember the first season and
Yeah, you should do what I did and just watch it again
watch it all the way
and
through.
watch it multiple times.
I've got lots of time. I'll just do that. I don't know how you find the time to consume what you do.
Well, I haven't been sleeping.
Well, that helps.
Yeah.
Kansas City. Food-wise, once only known as a barbecue town. But thanks to the Taco the Town podcast, everything has changed. Kansas City has rightfully taken its place as a taco paradise, smack dab in the middle of the USA. And all of these tacos belong to us on the Taco the Town podcast. My name is W. David Keith, certified tacoholic, and I live a very taco-centric lifestyle. On the Taco the Town podcast, we're tasting every taco in the town. We shine a light on all of the taco-rific tacos Kansas City has to offer, unearthing great taco memories, checking the latest stories in taco news, and interviewing actors, reporters, chefs, politicians, and musicians about their love for tacos. If you love tacos like I do, you're gonna love Taco the Town. Available wherever you get your taco podcasts. A proud member of the Lotus Pod Podcasting Network.
I've been sleeping a lot after I stopped drinking so much. I've been sleeping like a baby.
This is what I hate. It's like always. It's like, oh, how to lose weight? Stop drinking. How to sleep better? Stop drinking. It's like I haven't been drinking. It's like, why? I've already doing all these things, and I'm fat and not able to sleep.
Well, you're not fat.
Okay.
I've lost 8 pounds since I stopped drinking. I think what you need to do is start drinking and then stop.
And then stop. So gain. I started eating cheese and dairy again, and I did gain 10 or 15 pounds. I think I've already complained about this almost instantly.
I don't think I want to meet suddenly alcoholic Rick.
That's going to be my name for the next episode. Suddenly alcoholic Rick Rewound.
Yeah, I'm imagining it right now, and I'm not happy with it. Oh, well. Anything else, Rick?
No.
All right, Rick is sad again.
I'm sad.
Jim, what have you consumed, watched, listened to?
Well, I was thinking, you brought up last time, maybe the time before, Columbo again, and how I'd been watching Columbo, and I said, I'd stop watching that again.
Jim Lumbo. I actually canceled the segment because I tried to start the segment
and
last
I
episode.
Killed it off. Yeah,
you killed it. You said you hadn't been watching.
But then, but we did talk about a bunch of stuff about Columbo, though. So
we did.
I did actually watch another episode a while ago because I'd stopped because I finished all the 70s ones, and it came back, in the 80s, and I just know I don't think I like those as much. And I started watching one, and because it's Fisher Stevens is in it, from the brother from another planet.
Oh, yeah.
Does the card trick on the train. He's the killer in this episode, and I vaguely remember this one, and it's okay. They're definitely not like I've only watched one of the 80s ones, but it's just for some reason they're just not the same as the original ones, But he's like a wunderkind movie director. He's got like the run of the studio. He's got some kind of great deal. He had some kind of hit movie, and so he's just this kind of obnoxious 20-something movie director who has carte blanche.
Like a Quentin Tarantino-esque character.
Yeah, or like, who's the guy, the Heaven's Gate?
Michael Cimino?
Yeah, it's not really the same, but he that's Heaven's Gate he did the Deer Hunter, so they let him do anything and spend all their money on Heaven's Gate. But
thanks to United Artists.
Yeah.
Was the Deer Hunter that big of a hit?
Lots of Academy Awards, right?
This character, the Fisher Stevens character, has some kind of deal and he's just spending money and not really producing anything, but he kills his friend from high school who's blackmailing him because he finds a film where a classmate gets killed, or he just bumps him off. But he's of course not a very likable character, so it was okay. It wasn't. I might just go back and just watch start from the beginning again. Watch the first 70s ones. But no, I'll keep trying watching some of the other ones. Oh, this isn't a movie, but I started. It's a puzzle. Minute Cryptic. Have you heard of Minute Cryptics?
No.
It's like just a word. Well, cryptic crosswords, which I've never done before, and I was like always curious. I was like, I think I'd like cryptic crosswords. Everyone talks about how hard they are, and I brought up on this podcast before the Richard Osman's House of Games, or whatever, the British show. And they just have celebrities, and they're just kind of game. It's like game night or whatever, but they do a week with the same panel of celebrities, and they do all different kinds of games. And some of the word games are kind of like that kind of cryptic stuff, which I think are like cryptic crosswords. Anyways, they're on YouTube or Instagram, I think, but they're just 1 minute video. The guy, the nice thing is the guy does it's like a single clue from a cryptic cross. It's not a whole crossword. It's just every day there's a new clue with just one answer. So you get, it's like 5 letters, and it's this clue, like as if it's from a crossword puzzle, just.
Are there letters filled in?
No, but you can fill them in, but you lose rounds. You try and do it as few guesses. And so you can reveal like clues. They're very cryptic and very hard. And the first week I kind of got into it, and I was like, started getting a little bit better, but now I'm getting worse and worse, I think. It's like I've almost stopped several times. But the nice thing about it is there's a video after you either solve it or don't, or you click on this link and there's a little minute video, and the guy explains the whole clue. And so you learn, because the thing about them is that there are these little they're just little tricks, and you have to learn the little tricks, but they're very hard. And so it's kind of frustrating, but I'm sticking with it. I'm hooked on it again. But the funny thing is, though, this week he brought up, the guy who does the clues brought up this other Instagram account that is a comedian who's doing a parody of him, and wasn't taken aback by it. It's like recommended. It's like, oh, you should watch this. And it's Charlie Bauer's comedy. So he does a minute, but you should look at the minute cryptic videos first, watch or try some of them, and then watch this comedian does a parody of him. And it's just, he's kind of having a breakdown and drinking heavily and just doing it exactly like the real minute cryptic guy, but it's just, they're very dark and he's crashing but it's done. They're real though. They are, his puzzles are real. They're not just like ridiculous knockoffs. So he must have to think, because they're almost as good as the real ones. They're actual puzzles too. But
the actual minute cryptic guy, is it the guy? He looks like Phineas, Billie Eilish's brother, red-haired guy.
He's red.
with a beard.
He's Australian. Yeah, he's
Okay.
really red hair. Yeah.
I don't know what Billie Eilish's brother looks like.
You don't know what Phineas looks like?
Phineas Eilish?
No. What's their last name?
I don't know.
Phineas.
Yeah, this guy is Angus, but spelled in a weird way. It's
Phineas's?
Angas, but he's Australian though. But he's definitely Scottish descent or something. Was his ancestors were criminals from Scotland sent to Australia?
Well, isn't every person in Australia a descendant of a criminal?
Yes,
right?
yes.
So just FYI, Phineas Baird O'Connell, and then Billie Eilish is Billie Eilish Pirate Baird O'Connell.
I think I've heard that before. Pirate. I've heard someone
One
called
of her
pirate.
names is Pirate.
Okay. We got some goofy parents going on there. Unless that's like Rick. What was your title this week?
I've already forgotten. Suddenly Alcoholic? Was it that?
Yeah.
Suddenly Alcoholic, Rick
It was
Rewind?
Roadmaster or something
Oh,
last episode.
Roadmaster. Oh, yeah.
was
I
a-
was
No, but
Clock Keeper.
Clockkeeper. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
I watched Demolition Man. I watched Pineapple Express thinking that it wouldn't be good, but I watched it through a different lens. Rick had me watch it through a different lens, and I really enjoyed Pineapple Express. I just couldn't get it with them. And I'm Italian. This is one of my heroes, right? This
Sylvester
is one of my
Stallone.
absolute heroes. I used to have a Sylvester Stallone Rambo. You know how they had the stand-ups in the video stores? Like I had a guy give me the Rambo one when they were done with it.
Wow.
And Cobra, I had a Cobra poster.
Wow.
I mean, these are all bad movies, but I
Yeah.
still love Sylvester Stallone. I like Sandy Bullock. Actually came across her. They were filming Miss Congeniality 2 in my apartment complex, and I saw
Wow.
Sandy there while they were filming.
Did you talk to her
Did you
about
say, hey, Sandy?
Hey, Sandy. Actually, I yelled at her producer for parking in my parking space. And I got him to move. I've actually bullied this
Wow.
producer out of my parking
Wow.
space. I'm not proud of that moment. I saw the things you liked about it. I just couldn't get over how poorly it looked, how like the look of it just bothered me.
You just don't like movies from that era of
I don't.
Hollywood, right?
I don't like
That's-
slick movies.
Yeah.
I saw all the things you liked about it, and I was like, if this was really well executed, this would be a great movie. But I didn't feel, sorry. I didn't feel, well, it's just me being a snob, I guess.
Yeah.
I watched Donnie Darko for the first time.
Ooh, I watched that a while ago.
I really liked it. It
Yeah.
was a good movie. You guys, have you heard about this movie, Donnie Darko? Like, it's kind of like an indie film.
Yeah.
It is kind of. It is interesting. You know what I think? There was some kind of discussion on the Reddit or something, and people were talking about, oh, what's the first movie with like a slow version of a classic rock song or something used for dramatic effect, and like people are talking about all these things like later stuff. I think maybe even like Social Network, and it's like, no, I think it's Donnie Darko where they have the Mad World, like the piano woman singing Tears for Fears, Mad World.
Oh, right.
It's really slow and dramatic, and it's like I feel like that's the first time I saw that, which became a total cliche. It's like people do that all the time now. It's like in hundreds of movies.
Well, now they
and
do it with
TV
the
shows.
Pixies.
Yeah,
It's gotten
exactly.
so popular. They're
Yeah.
using
Yeah,
Where Is My Mind?
yeah.
Batman movies. Oh, no, the Batman movie used a Nirvana song.
Nirvana, yeah. But they used the actual song, right, as opposed to somebody doing the dramatic cover.
Well, they also seed a lot of the soundtrack draws back to those chords
Yeah.
in that movie. But there was some movie where they used Where Is My Mind is in Fight Club, but also I
Right,
think
but that's the actual song,
Right.
as opposed
You're
to
right.
the reworked cover song done in a gothy or dramatic way.
like In the Air Tonight.
Yeah.
is redone for the Miami Vice movie, and it's a little darker quotes. All right, so anyway, Donnie Darko, great movie. I just had never seen it and loved it.
Yes, saw it with Rewound Jr., and I think it might have hurt him psychologically.
It is a Catcher in the Rye kind of movie, right?
Yeah.
But it redeems itself. It's not just Catcher in the Rye. I have to watch it again. You know, these are all cliche things that people say after seeing Donnie Darko that you've heard for, I don't know, 30 years now. I don't know how old that movie is. It's not
20. Is it 20? I think it's just. Is it the 20th anniversary of Donnie Darko now?
And both Gyllenhaals are in there, Maggie and Jake. I watched Becoming Led Zeppelin, the new Zeppelin documentary that's out. The first hour of it, phenomenal, like the best. There's this great scene where they're just finished recording Led Zeppelin 1. They're really excited about each other. It's just so they're like, get out into this weird sort of semicircle arena that has about maybe 100 people sitting around. It's like a TV shoot for a TV show, and they're playing their brains out, just singing and dancing and screaming, and everybody's just sitting there quietly. And there's this little kid holding his ears. There's these people just staring at it, and it's just so amazing to watch how excited they are to show the world what they're doing, because they clearly understand how revolutionary it is what they're doing, and just to watch these people be like they weren't even annoyed. I think they were like, I think I'm seeing something, but I don't know what it is, and I don't know how to react to it. Whereas, 5 years later, they'd all have like cutoffs and their tops would be off and stuff. But at that moment, it was just so great to watch something amazing happen. Are you okay there, Rick?
Yeah, no, it's something stuck to my ear, and I think it might just be earwax. And then I got it. Sorry. It's like, I also think the coating on my ear pads are coming off, so I'm just sorry.
Just have another bottle of wine, you'll be fine. So I recommend that. Oh, the second hour was bad. It was like, how it's like, oddly enough, they had all this tremendous footage from the first record, because it just covers 1 and 2.
Oh,
kind of.
Wow.
I think for the most part, it's just 1 and 2. It's the beginning of the band, because 1 and 2 were recorded incredibly close to each other too.
Like some of 2 is like on tour, right? Like in the U.S.,
right? Yeah. But then 2 is just a bunch of like newspaper clippings and stuff. Like they don't have any footage, which is strange. You would think they would have more because they were getting popular. But anyway, I watched The Invisible Man. The modern version of it was pretty good, and then I watched Companion. I think those 2 films are complementary of one another. Companion was way better.
What Invisible Man? Like, what year is that? Like, is it recent or?
Yeah, it was during COVID. I think it came out. It was like, I think a Blumhouse maybe, or it was the reboot of the Universal characters.
Oh, okay, yeah, because they're doing a Wolfman movie and stuff, right?
Yes, it was about being in an abusive relationship and getting out of an abusive relationship, and I think the whole thematically it was excellent, but there were just some holes in the way it was executed. But a good movie, and then Companion was fantastic. It's about, I guess, sex robots. People have sex bots, and I don't know, it's just really well done.
Who's in that? Who's the companion?
Sophie Thatcher.
Okay, so that's not the one. There are a couple of those movies then, right? Robot.
Well, there's Ex Machina with...
Well, yeah, no, I'm talking about recently. There's another robot movie. All right. Anyways.
You sad again, Rick?
I'm sad.
And then the last thing is I listened to the book on recording of the Alex Van Halen book, Brothers. And that's interesting because it stops at 1984. He just goes all the way to 1984 and then goes, I miss my brother, and I started crying. There's a moment in every chapter where he's like, and I would trade it all to have my brother back. Or it would be like,
wow.
And I can't, and there was one line was like, I can't enjoy any of it because you're not here to enjoy it with me, Eddie. Oh. I'm just like, oh my God. Oh man, this guy needs a hug.
Is he writing a second book for after 84?
I don't think so.
This is just...
I don't know. Maybe. But I think you made the point in our last podcast was like, come on, what is the grudge you're holding here?
Oh, because the band, it's not Van Halen after 1984.
Right.
Right. Okay, I got it. Yeah.
Rick, do you want to talk about what our movie is?
The movie we will be watching is Prophecy.
On shrink-wrapped VHS.
Actually from Let me see if I can read it. Movie track video.
Are you
Is
sure?
NOS? Is it NOS?
New old
No, it's
stock. No,
open.
no,
No.
it's been open, so it may not work. It's Prophecy, the monster movie, it says on it. A John Frankenheimer
That's
directed
right.
film
Wow.
about, well, I haven't seen it for over 40 years. I believe it involves a mutant bear.
I believe it does too, but I've never seen this movie ever, and I was dying to see it as a kid. I'll reserve my comments for when after we see it. But I remember this film and the era it came out. I was a little worried that you were going to look inside that shrink-wrapped box and see styrofoam, because you
Yeah.
know that they used to put styrofoam in them and put them back out on the shelves.
No, it actually has a tape that says "Please rewind" and then 3738. So the filing number for what was it? Movie track video. Yeah,
Where did you get this?
I think on the internet.
Well, join us all for our review of Prophecy, the last episode of the first half of the second season of Lost and Found and Rewound. Lost and Found and Rewound is fully funded by Lost and Found and Rewound Foundation funds. Lost and Found and Rewound does not use crowdfunding because our listeners have better things to do with their funding. There's no need to post reviews of Lost and Found and Rewound because our listeners have more valuable things to do with their time. In all sincerity, thank you for listening to the show. We truly appreciate it.
Lotus Pod.